What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I have a quick little video for you. Today I'm going to do my college football playoff predictions plus the Sugar Bowl. But before I hop into this video, if this is your first time watching my channel, I just want to ask you to please like and subscribe. If you love college football, you'll love my content. I talk about college football a lot. But yes, the college football playoff games, the 2-1s, Michigan, TCU, Georgia, Ohio State, and the Sugar Bowl between Alabama and Kansas State, because of course me and most of my subscribers are Alabama fans. So let's start with the Sugar Bowl. Number 5 Alabama versus number 9 Kansas State. Number 5 Alabama is favored by 7 in this game and have a 73% win probability. But both of these teams are very good. They'll be going down to New Orleans to play in this bowl game. But both teams, like I said, very good. But two very similar records. 10-2 Alabama, 10-3 Kansas State. But totally different feelings. To Alabama, this was a letdown year, among Alabama standards. But to Kansas State, this was a great, amazing year for Kansas State. So you see two similar records, but two completely different feelings on this team. I think both teams will be very locked into this one. I think this will produce a lot of emotion out of this game. I think both teams have very good head coaches. Nick Saban for Alabama, of course, the GOAT, and Chris Klieman for Kansas State. Alabama, of course, even though they missed the playoffs, even though they had 2 losses, even though they played a lot of one-possession games, don't get it twisted, they are still Alabama top 10 offense and defense, in my opinion. And they still have Bryce Young. And real quick, I want to say thank you and bye to the players who are playing in their last game. A lot of these players I thought would sit out, but I'm very grateful they are playing in it. And I wish them the best in the NFL, and I hope nothing goes badly tomorrow in the Sugar Bowl. I really hope the best for them. Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Branch, Jordan Battle, among others, will be playing their last game in Crimson. So thank you to them. And also Will Reichard playing his last game. Want to get that in there too. But yes, Alabama, very good. But so is Kansas State. To me, they have an insanely underrated defense, in my opinion. A defense that most people don't get enough credit for, led by Felix Anudike. Sorry if I mispronounced that. He is a beast at defensive edge. And then they also have a very good offense. Their passing game has not been 100% solid at times, but it has flashed when it needed to. And their run game has been fantastic, led by Deuce Vaughn. So 2 very good teams, in my opinion. They're both going to come to play. I think you're going to get a lot of emotion out of this game. But I do think Alabama wins this one. Give me the Alabama Crimson Tide 35-21. I think Alabama wins 2-possession game. Alabama wins by 14, 35-21. Bama wins and they cover. And now on to the Fiesta Bowl, college football playoff game between number 2 Michigan and number 3 TCU. Michigan favored by 7.5 in this game. Michigan, of course, went 13-0, undefeated, and had one of the best seasons in Michigan history. And of course, they have their eye on the prize to win the national championship. But even if they lose to TCU, this will still be one of the best seasons in Michigan football history. They were insanely good. You could make an argument they were top 10. Well, no, they were definitely top 10 in both offense and defense to me this year. If you watch the games, their passing game was spotty at times, but J.J. McCarthy stepped up in the important games when he was needed, and he proved me wrong. I picked Ohio State in the game because I didn't think J.J. McCarthy could step up on the brightest stages. And he proved me wrong, and I'll stand by that. I was wrong. But, yes, very good. And then Michigan's run game. Oh, my gosh, that offensive line is nasty. That running game is nasty. They lost Blake Corum, their best player. And still, this guy, Donovan Edwards, amazing player, steps up and does just as good. That is a testament to not only Donovan Edwards, but that Michigan offensive line. And that Michigan defense is one of the best in the nation. That Michigan defense is so good. But let's talk about TCU for a second, because a lot of people are underrating them just because they play in the Big 12. 12-1, but I don't really view them like that. I really still view this team as undefeated. Yeah. I know they lost, so how can I view them as undefeated? But they lost in an extra game. They lost to a team they had already beat. It's so hard to beat a good team twice, especially Kansas, a really good team like Kansas State. You know, an extra game, a very good team. They brought them down to the wire. There were some really spotty calls in that game. To me, I really still view TCU undefeated. That loss really didn't change much of my opinion of TCU, especially because it was so close to a good team they'd already played. I'm not holding that against them so much. But they are so good. I mean, that offense is absolutely amazing. I mean, such a balanced offense, too. One of the most balanced offenses in the nation. I mean, incredible passing and incredible rushing. Obviously, Max Duggan to Quentin Johnston is the amazing connection to the passing game, which has worked all year. But don't forget about Kendre Miller on the ground. To me, if TCU wants to win this game, Max Duggan is going to have to play the best game of his life and more. Because Michigan's defense is that good. But TCU's offense is still very good. And don't overlook TCU's defense either. They don't get enough credit. They are very good. Even if some of the numbers may not agree with me, I really think they have a case for a top 25 defense. Incredibly good team. TCU is. Both very good teams. That's why they're in the playoffs. Michigan, 67% win probability, favored by 7.5. J.J. McCarthy is going to have to play good. Their offensive line is amazing. TCU's got some ballers too, but I'm gonna take the Michigan Wolverines, and I hate to do this because I know I went on a big rant about how good TCU is, but look at the past games, look at the past playoff games. There are not many close playoff games. You get those once in a while, and I think you give a coach as good as Jim Harbaugh, and now this is no shot at Sonny Dykes. Sonny Dykes is an amazing coach. I'm going to do my college football awards after the national championship, but spoiler alert, he's already my coach of the year. I'll say that right here and there. He has done an amazing job, especially with the talent and now the recruiting. He's such a good job. But Jim Harbaugh, more experience, back-to-back years. I think you give him a month in preparation with this roster they have prepared, this hungry after they lost last year. I think Michigan wins this game, and I think they win big. I think they shock TCU. Give me the Michigan Wolverines 41-17. They win by 24. A big win, yes, I know, but a lot of playoff games, whether you expect them to or not, are blowouts. Give me the Michigan Wolverines 41-17. Michigan wins and they cover. And now, to me, one of the most interesting games, the Peach Bowl. College football playoff Peach Bowl between number 1 Georgia versus number 4 Ohio State. Georgia, favored by 6, has a 58% win percentage in this game. 58% win probability, my bad. Georgia, of course, dominant. They've been my number 1 all season, and they'll stay like that until they lose. 13-0, dominated. Now, did they dominate everybody on their schedule by 50? No. They looked, quote-unquote, vulnerable at times, but the big point is they still got the job done. Did they struggle versus Missouri? Did they struggle versus Kent State? And did they struggle versus Kentucky? Yes. But they still got the job done. They're still Georgia. They're still led by Kirby Smart, and they still have one of the best rosters in college football. A top 5 offense, and to me, the best defense in the entire country. UGA very balanced on offense. Stetson Bennett can get it done through the air, and they can get it done in the ground game. They're very good. But do not forget about Ohio State. I think Ryan Day is an underappreciated head coach. Now, I know he was, quote-unquote, to quote Jim Harbaugh, he was born on third base. You know, Urban Meyer built that program up and the coaches before him. But I think people underestimate Ryan Day. Even though he has a lot of talent, he's done nothing but win-win games. And I know he has a 2-loss streak to Michigan, but Michigan's very good. I don't think Ohio State has diminished in quality. or diminished a tier. I think Michigan has just gotten so good. Jim Harbaugh has figured it out. I think Michigan has stepped up a tier. I don't think Ohio State has stepped down. I think Michigan has stepped up. And I think Urban Meyer, you wouldn't, not to disrespect Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer is one of the best coaches in college football, at least of all time. But I think Urban Meyer would struggle with this too. It's not a Ryan Day thing to me. Ryan Day's so underappreciated. Ohio State, to me, best offense in the entire country. Amazing passing the ball, of course, led by C.J. Stroud. But they also have an amazing run game, too. Very dynamic rushers. And they have a solid defense, in my opinion. But to me, it's going to be interesting. Number one offense versus number one defense. But to me, I think Ohio State's going to come off very pissed. The last game was a loss to Michigan. I think Ryan Day is going to hear the criticism. I think C.J. Stroud is going to hear this criticism. And yes, give me the Ohio State Buckeyes to beat Georgia. I know it's crazy. Georgia's number one, blah, 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 defending national champs. I think this Ohio State team can get it done. Now, they're going to have to play right. They can't just come in there moseying around, of course. Ohio State has to, one, they've got to figure out something to limit Georgia's physicality. I don't think Ohio State can step up to Georgia and just physically dominate them. But I think there's some ways they can get around it. And two, I think C.J. Stroud has to play an amazing game, and they have to come out guns blazing. They can't start slow and then figure it out. No. They have to come out and start clicking right away, which is exactly what I think will happen. I think they'll get it done. Give me the Buckeyes, 42-31. The Ohio State Buckeyes win by 11 and upset the Georgia Bulldogs. And to me, that leaves an Ohio State versus Michigan national championship. And this might be the most hyped up national championship ever. I mean, certainly the most hyped up one since 2005 USC Texas. But this might even beat that. This game will be so hyped and so looked forward to. The ratings will be insane. And I really do think it'll happen. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think will happen? Who do you have winning? And man, the last Alabama game of the season. Oh, I wish our guys the best, but let me know in the comments below. Peace out and roll Tide.